We come to the third module of this first lecture. A few slides in the middle of the second module, there was a definition which says bioinformatics or computational biology. At that point, I had made a comment. Very often, bioinformatics and computational biology are used synonymously, they are used interchangeably. Is this necessarily correct? And in this third module, we are going to explore whether computational biology can be distinguished from bioinformatics. Should it be? That's important. Let's look at a definition of bioinformatics. It's a very short segment from a longish YouTube video, and you see the link. It's from the University of California at Davis.
Okay, so I want to start out by talking about what bioinformatics is, and actually begin with a let me just say bioinformatics and computational molecular biology, these are two terms that are somewhat interchangeable. It's generally concerned with the use of computation, the use of computers, the use of databases in biology. We used to say molecular biology. Now it's even broader than that, but it did really begin in a sense and began in the study of protein before that, and then molecular biology. But our ability to obtain massive biological data, categorize it, organize it, cross-tabulate it, and so on, and the value that people believe can be extracted from that data leads to the need for techniques involving computer science, involving statistics, involving disciplines that weren't traditionally part or traditionally aligned with biology, but now are. And so the whole area of computational biology and bioinformatics has emerged out of that synthesis.
So let's go to the next part, computational biology versus bioinformatics. Now, there are several definitions, and you'll see sometimes that people do make the mistake, if it is a mistake, of kind of interchanging and computational biology and bioinformatics. So let's look at some of the definitions that people talk about. Most people seem to try to pigeonhole two aspects of bioinformatics, the end user and the developer. So somebody develops these resources using computer science, software development, mathematics, the conceptual ideas. And then there's a group of people who call themselves bioinformatics practitioners. They use this in their daily lives, in their, as a companion to the bench work that they do. So bioinformatics is biology plus computers, whereas computational biology is computers plus biology. Now, notice there is a lack of commutation here, that bioinformatics is not equal to computational biology, because biology plus computers, so it seems as if computers is downstream of the biology, and in computational biology, biology is downstream of the computers. Like I said earlier, it seems as if the end user versus the developer, somebody who takes information technology and applies it to biotechnology, and then the others are, well, you have biology and you extract that information through the use of computers, or you use the information through the use of computers. So the differences might seem stark, but there is a certain subtlety there. In other words, biologists who specialize in the use of computational tools and systems to answer problems of biology are bioinformaticians. Now, the reason why bioinformaticians is highlighted is because at some point we're going to explore whether there is a difference between bioinformaticians and bioinformaticists, or are these used much like bioinformatics and computational biology, are these used interchangeably and synonymously and necessarily incorrectly? Computer scientists, mathematicians, statisticians, and engineers who specialize in developing theories, algorithms, and techniques for such tools and systems are computational biologists. As an aside, again, bioinformaticians versus bioinformaticists. So here's some definitions. Again, These are recommended definitions. People have opined about this, but that does not mean that just because one or two people have opined and a few people agree on this, these are universally acceptable definitions. So a bioinformaticist is an expert who not only knows how to use bioinformatics tools, but also knows how to write interfaces for effective use of tools. So a bioinformaticist is somebody who uses the tools and can write interfaces for effective use of the tools. But then that's what a computational biologist is, right? Sort of, if you revisit the definition in the previous slide. A bioinformatician, on the other hand, is a trained individual who only knows how to use bioinformatics tools without a deeper understanding. Well, I'm sure a bioinformatician is going to be really happy to know that. So, a bioinformaticist is a developer, and a bioinformatician is an end user, according to this information by Mark Yerstein. Toward the last slide in the previous module was this illustration of how genomics and proteomics come together and the confluence of which bioinformatics contributes to the confluence of genomics and proteomics. This is from the same paper. Bioinformatics versus computational biology. Let's revisit that. Russell Altman says that bioinformatics is the creation of tools, algorithms, databases, etc. that solve problems. The goal is to build useful tools that work on biological data. It is about engineering. Computational biology is a study of biology using computational techniques. The goal is to learn new biology, knowledge about living systems. It is about science. So here the definition seems to be that computational biology is more conceptual and bioinformatics is more taking the concepts and creating or generating applications from it. Another definition by Michael Yu. It is one focused on computational pipelines and the implementation of theory for big data sets, whereas the other is focused on pure mathematical and computational theory, which is which? Obviously, bioinformatics is the first part of this definition. Computational biology is the second part of this definition, at least based on what we've heard. One more definition of computational biology. Broadly speaking, computational biology is the application of computer science, statistics, and mathematics to problems in biology. But that now starts edging slowly into the definition of bioinformatics, as we have seen. Computational biology spans a wide range of fields within biology, including genomics, genetics, biophysics, cell biology, biochemistry, and evolution. Likewise, it makes use of tools and techniques from many different quantitative fields, including algorithm design, machine learning, this is something we've talked about before, Bayesian and frequentist statistics, and statistical physics. This definition comes out of Cornell. Let's look at just another very advertisement-oriented definition of bioinformatics.
I don't think one has to worry too much about how we define it. Clearly, biology has changed over the years. There are things that we have to do using computational approaches and algorithmic approaches. Slowly over time, I think all biologists are going to rely more and more on computers and computational analysis than just test tubes and petri dishes. So in some ways, it's a natural movement of phenomena of biology reflecting really that cells, human cells, eukaryotic cells, are some of the most complex things in the known universe. And really to be understanding them and analyzing them, we're going to have to draw on a lot of computational approaches and computational modeling and storing our data in large disk arrays and using disk farms and compute farms to actually analyze the data that we're generating. Some eminent bioinformaticians have said that maybe the term would just go away and really it's just another way of saying biology.
So, this in essence is about the philosophy of this class, right? Is that to be a bioinformatics practitioner, you don't have to say, well, I'm a bench biologist and I don't need to worry about that. And if I ever need to go and do something related to bioinformatics, I'll always go to a specialist. And that really shouldn't be the case. And I think that's the final point, is that, the bioinformatics, the term will go away, and bioinformatics is just going to be one added facet of biology, or biomedical applications, clinics, etc., wherever there is biological knowledge to which information technology has to be applied. Now, there is a Lincolnstein in the early 2000s made a very what a lot of people thought was a harsh comment. He said, "Bioinformatics is dead." Later, he took that back, but I think there is a point to what he was trying to say. The bioinformatics was so quickly evolving. It was moving so quickly. It was difficult to pigeonhole or straitjacket bioinformatics into a specific definition, and certainly in the previous module, we've seen how difficult that is. And so he says, well, bioinformatics is dead. It's dead because it's a facet of biology, or we have nowhere to go. But as bioinformatics evolved, as information technology developed, especially when the internet became a household utility, so to speak, they realized that there were things that you could do with bioinformatics. It was fast evolving, and we had to just be sure that that development evolved with the evolution of information technology. And so then he did a bit of a mea culpa. He said, bioinformatics alive and kicking. Bioinformatics has become too central to biology to be left to specialist bioinformaticians. Biologists are all bioinformaticians now, which basically is again the philosophy of this course, and that is why this course is more of an applications course, that you cannot distance yourself, and I'm repeating this, you cannot distance yourself from the information technology aspect of it, particularly because everything is so internet based, so much of the knowledge is accessible. You always pick up your cell phone and you say, in my pocket, I hold the combined accumulative knowledge since the beginning of time, right? And every succeeding generation has a greater facility with the use of the internet. And if so much of the bioinformatics, the biology knowledge development is taking place on the internet, it would be, you would do yourself as a student of science, you would do yourself a disservice to say, well, I'm just going to distance myself from it. The idea is to embrace it. And what this course does is it allows you to immerse yourself into it as a bioinformatics practitioner. And these are the philosophical underpinnings of the course, right? So bioinformatics is here to stay. We've seen 2 instances of experts, and I'm sure a lot more agree that irrespective of the definition of this domain of knowledge, it is here to stay. So how does one reconcile bioinformatics with the mainstay of life sciences? Now remember, bioinformatics is a facet of biology, but it cannot replace biology, right? Because biology really arises from experimentation. So this class aims to make you a competent bioinformatics practitioner, and if you wish, tease you into becoming a developer. And so the BTEC5322 is a course I teach next semester, Advanced Bioinformatics, that actually allows you to become a developer. It teaches you software development. It teaches you how to build protein models as opposed to watch protein models in the protein data bank. It shows you how to actually do programming, how to actually do development. It makes you aware that there is so much bioinformatics related development going on that you can use your web accessibilities to help you in more than 80% of what you need as you develop your scientific biological activities. So once again, we can look we looked at the topics covered in this class in the first module, in the introduction to the class. But knowing what you know now, let's take a look at some of the topics that are going to be covered in this class, and I think that you will have a little better perspective on this. So that was the end of all the things that I needed to cover in terms of introduction to bioinformatics. There's some interesting facets about bioinformatics, the different definitions, how it differs from computational biology, how a bioinformaticist differs from a bioinformatician. This is not necessarily true just because somebody defines it. And so the next time we will be looking at sequence-based bioinformatics.